All right, today I'm talking to Jason Economides. He's the owner of EcoBusinessAcademy.com. He's been a coach with LPW for how long, Jason?
I think it's about 3 years, something like that, maybe longer.
Great. What made you decide to become a business coach?
I think at the time I was looking for an edge. I was doing a lot of repetitive work in terms of positioning of businesses with my clients. So I was telling, this is the way you should present your business cards, this is the way you should present your unique selling proposition, that sort of thing. And it was getting a bit of hard work. So I was thinking, I'll start recording some videos, I'll do some training materials, and that way I don't have to do this every single time. And then by pure fluke, I saw an advert on, I think it was on LinkedIn actually, and that's how I got brought in. And you guys just basically had everything that I was thinking of, and about a million other things that I'd never have thought of and I would never have been able to produce. So it just it was something that gave me a leg up instantly, like within 2 weeks, rather than having to build it over 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. I went from 0 to 100 miles an hour in terms of content and product that I could sell.
Right. Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So since joining with LPW, do you feel like we've been able to help your coaching business grow? You feel like you're generating more leads, keeping clients longer? Does that seem like something that has really taken off since adding the program to your coaching business?
Well, there's absolutely no question about it. The specific areas that I had issues with. One of the issues that a lot of people have issues with when they get into this business is closing the clients, right? So actually coming up with decent positioning and making sure that the value is really clear. And so I kind of knew what I was doing. I knew what the value was, but what LPW and the entire program helped me to do was be maybe more succinct, come up with specific products and services, and really give me a step-by-step process by which I could bring in leads and close them. And as far as lead generation is concerned, you were asking about that. I am having been on the having used the system myself that obviously we give our customers, but there are some tutorials on joint ventures, and that's the thing that I really specialize in, where I build up joint ventures and bring them into a big group webinar, and that has created more leads than I can handle, literally. And it sounds like a tagline, but honestly,
But when it's true, it's not a tagline.
yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, I have one joint venture partner with a list of about 45,000 people on it, and that generated somewhere between 300 and 400 attendees per webinar that I've been doing with them. So nice. You can imagine when you have that many people coming through on a live webinar, you're always getting 5 to 10 people emailing you afterwards saying, that was great, I think you can help my business, when can we talk, I need you right now, that kind of thing. And, as a one-to-one coach, you can only deal with a certain number of leads at any one time. So, literally that's the kind of situation I found myself in. And that's all thanks to the LPW program.
Excellent. So you had mentioned before that you attended the coaches training in the past. Can you give us just some quick thoughts on the coaches training and what you gained out of that and what it's helped you done?
Yeah, I think if you know the joke about the two guys who are out camping, and one of them starts putting his sneakers on really, really carefully and slowly, and his friend says to him, "What are you doing?" And the guy says, "Well, there's a bear behind you. He says, so why are you putting your sneakers on? You're never going to outrun the bear. And he says, yeah, I know, but I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you. And so,
exactly.
so what you learn on that kind of coach's training is that is how to show that in the real world to your clients, how your clients' competitors really are also doing an equally bad job of marketing their own services, and in fact that it's really not that hard to completely outrun those competitors. And I think that's the whole point for me. The coach's training really showed you in a very, very simple step-by-step way to show that to a client. I mean, it's so simple, it's profound, and that I think really makes a big difference when it comes to to closing clients as a business coach.
Excellent. Do you feel like the clients that you're able to retain for a longer period of time because of the system itself and what it puts in place for that business owner to automate things, so they get the weekly emails and all of that, and you're not having to spend all the time teaching those things? Like you kind of talked about that earlier. You find yourself saying the same things over and over again with your clients, and now that that part's automated, you get to hold them accountable so that they actually get the results that do keep them on. Do you feel like you're retaining clients for a longer period of time now?
Yeah, I think, and it goes even beyond what you've just said, and everything you just said is true, and also the fact that you, I mean, of course, it saves you a ton of time, but one of the biggest benefits is the fact that you're able to close the clients at higher price points than you would have been able to otherwise.
Right. Okay.
And I think that's something that people really need to understand. I mean, for me, I mean, there are different people within the LPW family, and their positioning varies, and they have different focuses. My focus is much more on, say, one-to-one coaching than it is on selling as many systems as possible. I integrate the system as part of my coaching package, and
for sure.
And so by having the system there, which is of the e-learning marketing system there, obviously is I mean, it's a real value to the clients. So most coaches who are charging very, very high dollar product, high dollar services on a one-to-one basis do not have this kind of wealth of information. Sure, they sometimes have little membership sites, or they have a few binders of a few bits of information, and it's all great, and they put on their website pictures of some DVDs and some books, but it pales in comparison to what we're able to offer.
Excellent. So you kind of mentioned it a little bit as far as being able to offer more value. Have you seen a significant increase in coaching revenue? You don't have to get into specifics, obviously, but have you seen an increase in the revenue you do produce because of being able to include the LPW e-learning system into the coaching offers that you do have?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you definitely. Well, I've definitely increased my revenues. That's for sure, because we price it in including that system, and of course the margin. You've got to think about the margin as well. The margin is very, very high. You're only paying one fixed monthly fee to LPW, but you can sell as many of the systems as you like. I mean, that's just all
exactly
profit, right?
Right.
It's all profit. That's number one. And then number two, when you have that kind of step-by-step system, I mean, with the way I price things up, again, following completely LPW model, I would never have thought of doing it this way if I hadn't been on the coach's training course. And we ought to really talk about the Wednesday meetings as well in a second. But, having all of that, we're able to put together coaching packages which become both more affordable to the clients, but also more lucrative to yourself by negotiating percentage of revenue. increase for the client. So if you help
right.
the client increase their revenues, we get paid a percentage of it, and clearly that's where it becomes very, very lucrative.
Absolutely, those contingency agreements can increase well beyond what you would get out of a normal just monthly fee, and kind of like what we talked about earlier, you get the ability to now, instead of training them or teaching them, what they need to know when it comes to marketing, since that's done automatically with the e-learning system. Now you get to hold them accountable, so you make sure that those increases actually happen. Because not only does that benefit the business owner, it benefits you as well, because now that contingency kicks in, and so that revenue increase is can be pretty substantial when it comes to having those kind of things in place, and you can make sure that you're able to get those results.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're doing it because we actually want to help the client, because most clients, if we were going to charge our full fee to a client for the amount of time that we put into it, and anyone who does a lot of coaching will know the number of hours. We 1 hour thing, and then we don't spend an hour. We end up spending 3 or 4 or 5.
Right.
If we were going to actually charge that to our clients, it would be $1,500, $2,500, $3,000 a month. Now, okay, that's fine for a multi-million-dollar company. They're used to paying fees like that. But when you're talking about Sarah down in the middle of Sarah in one of the side streets who's running a bakery, she's not got $3,000 a month to pay that kind of money. So you say, well, look, okay, we inevitably get very, very passionate about our clients' businesses, and we really want to help them. And then, when we're thinking, if I tell her that it's going to cost $3,000, she's, we're never going to do anything. And I'd really love to work with this person. So getting the right positioning using the LPW model just helps you kind of come up with a plan that is fair to both parties, because quite often, we front a lot of the risk for 3 to 6 months, let's say, in some cases. If it's very complicated businesses, you don't see the results for a number of months, but then you do get the kicker, and of course that's a long-term thing. So it's fair on both the client and the coach, I think. But I couldn't have done it without without you guys, without Carl, Adrian, and the Wednesday Ask the Expert call.
You had mentioned that a little bit ago. So let's wrap up with just some thoughts on the Ask the Expert call. So that's obviously you're aware, but that's a live conference call we do with all of our coaches on Wednesdays, where you can call in and talk with Adrian and ask some questions. So out of that, when you've been able to participate in that, just give us some thoughts on that.
Well, I think what I always say to Adrian and Carl, and I say to anybody who asks me about the system, I say, if you've got nothing else, right? In other words, you didn't get access to the Coaches Marketing Center, and you didn't get access to the e-learning marketing system to sell to your clients, the monthly LPW fee is worth paying just for the Wednesday calls. And does that make sense? Because you're getting coaching every single week with the best, with not only Adrian, who's the best positioning coach in the world, in my opinion, right?
Yep, I agree.
You've got the community of all the other coaches, and some of these guys, can I mention them? Can I name them?
Sure.
I mean, people like Peter Lawson, people like Daryl Weeks, people like Peter Ryan, who are just knocking it out of the park. Right? You've got these guys on the call who are throwing in their 2 cents. You call and saying, "Hey, look, I'm seeing a chiropractor today. I've been working with him for 3 weeks. I'm having real issues in improving his business. What can we do to help his business?" And we're all brainstorming together during that 1 hour. So you can talk about your own clients and helping them. So I'm not getting results from my clients because, of course, you were talking about retention and retaining your clients, right? So sometimes the part of retention is obviously you need to get results with the client, because if you don't, they're going to cancel the coaching contract with you. And sometimes, you're a really good coach. You just, for some reason, you just can't put your finger on it. You're just not getting results with this one client. normally you would, and with this particular niche, this industry, you're not getting that result. And with the coaching call, we can say, look, I need some help, guys, because if I don't get this guy some money, he's shutting down. He's shutting down the arrangement with me. And if we get the best coaches in business saying, oh, have you tried this? You've tried that website. Why don't we do this? Why don't you build that? Why don't you talk about these things? And there's a great program I saw. And it's fantastic. And so that's good in terms of getting the clients the results. And of course, and you say, well, I've got prospects. How do I close these prospects? I've targeted this market, and again, it's the same thing again. Agent will say, oh, well, why don't you do it like this? Why don't you price it in such and such a way? And if that's too expensive, why don't you do it like this? And if that's too expensive, why don't you do it like this? And it's like, and it's all live, so you've got all of the Coaches Marketing Center material, you've got the whole e-learning marketing system, and you've got a live coaching call on the Wednesdays. I think, without that, there's no way I would be in the position I'm in now. So I think you definitely have to sort of, you've got to not underestimate that Wednesday coaching call, because that's really so much magic happens during that call.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you used a good term. You called it a community, and that's certainly what we try to treat it as. We don't look at you guys as our clients. We look at you guys as our partners, and that's ultimately what makes everybody's job easier, is having that community to get ideas from. You spoke about it great. I mean, that's exactly why we do the calls and why we let everybody talk, and not just have Adrian come on for 60 minutes and talk about something that he wants to talk about, and that's it. That's the whole reason that we do it, is to build that community idea of everybody starts to recognize names and knows who everybody is, and they can go to for questions. And certain coaches have experience or specializations in one thing or another, and so it definitely becomes a very good sounding board for everybody to get ideas and to make sure everybody succeeds. Because ultimately that's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to make sure that their clients succeed. And as a coach, you want to succeed as well. So, yeah,
absolutely. And just to point out, in case we didn't mention it or it's not mentioned, anywhere else, but all the calls are recorded. All of those, and I've got this quirky obsession of actually keeping track of the number of calls that
I've seen that.
And I don't know why. I don't know why I do it, but I keep an Excel spreadsheet. And I just think, like, we now have 350 hours of calls. I can't remember what it is. It's an insane number of hours of coaching.
Right, exactly.
Like I said, even if you never had access to the Coaches Marketing Center itself and all of the templates and PowerPoint presentations that you can use with your clients, and even if you didn't have access to the e-learning marketing system, just having access to the weekly call and the recordings of all those weekly calls is worth the money. It's worth 300
plus hours of coaching, from all the best coaches in the world. Access to hundreds of people to bounce ideas off of is certainly has a value in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, that's it's really important just to understand what the components, what all the components are. Everyone runs their business differently, and I know there are other kind of say coaching type associations or licenses and things that are available out there, but they don't give you that flexibility for you to run the business the way you want to run the business. You kind of have to take what they have. You've got to brand it the way they want it branded. You've got to use their business cards. You've got to use their letterheads. You've got to use their pricing, and then just to even get into the system can be anywhere up to $100,000 just to get in.
Right.
And you don't have this kind of, and so you're immediately under pressure with systems like that, right? Whereas,
absolutely, right.
Whereas,
the clock is ticking right away. Absolutely.
Right. So, yeah. So, so it's. I mean, it's just we didn't even talk about how affordable it is anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, I think. For me, the LPW, there's nowhere else to go. If you're thinking about building a business coaching business, there is nowhere else to go. You know, you have to go. You have to, you know, fully absorb it. You know, get the stuff. You know, get your, you know, really absorb all the material that we have, you know, that you have there, and you make it so easy as well. Not to mention the fact, by the way, sorry, another thing we haven't mentioned is that there's nowhere else where you can have some kind of system like this, and you have a website built for you, and it includes all of your monthly, effectively your whole tech support, your IT support to make sure it's all running. And you know, anywhere else, if you had your website designer, something breaks, you have to call up your designer and say, "Can you fix this? It's not working." You know, you'd have to pay them, right? Whereas,
right,
you know, okay, if you say, "Well, please, can you design me 3 extra pages?" Of course, you know, that's fair enough. But you know, 90% of the time, when I've needed changes done and things like that, LPW just so you know, so reasonable. You know, with any charges. You know, they're you know, even if, you know, sometimes there aren't any charges. Probably all.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to nickel and dime you for, you know, change up this video or replace my photo for me. Oh, it's $25 or anything like that. Yeah. We're not gonna nickel and dime you to death with those kinds of things, because if you're not happy with what you have, you know, you're not dissatisfied. Coaches aren't gonna stick around. So yeah, we're definitely trying to make sure that at all times you have exactly what you want in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jason. Well, thank you for your time today. I really do appreciate it. And
you're really welcome. Any time. Always happy to help.